Good morning, welcome to the premium video forecast discussion for December 24th, 2020. Of course, it's a Thursday morning and Christmas Eve. Looks like we're going to be dealing with some rather stormy weather conditions setting up for this evening on through tomorrow morning. But there's a little bit of good news here in that the window of the most intense wind gusts is pretty small. Okay, so that's certainly some good news there, but it's going to pack quite a punch, so let's dive into some of the data. Here we have our radar here. You can see the rain starting to expand here over central Pennsylvania. Now, this progression is going to slow down a bit because the jet stream at 250 millibars is going to run pretty much parallel to the cold front. So that's going to slow down the progression of the rainfall for a short period of time. We can see that very clearly in the water vapor satellite picture, this setup here. Very impressive upper level trough here, digging into the upper Midwest. You can see the moisture being pulled northward, and you can see the strong lifting really taking place over the Ohio River Valley. This is all going to inch its way to the east today and eventually start to drive its way through tonight. And you could already see in the latest SPC data, there is our 850 millibar jet. It's pretty much as strong as what was forecasted for this time period, and it looks like it's going to be getting stronger, and we know that based on the way that this trough is starting to accent itself and tilt and support significant divergence and diffluence and lifting throughout the atmosphere. So unfortunately, not the best news in terms of weather impacts, but let's step on through with this forecast of what to expect for tonight on through tomorrow. So when I take a look at the model data, the strongest winds, and right now they're coming in at the wind gusts. This is the wind gust from the European hourly guidance, and this is at around 1 a.m. Okay, 1 a.m. Christmas morning, which is tonight. Okay, and you can see these strong wind gusts. You see that 60 mile per hour wind gusts here showing up, and don't be surprised if you get some stronger wind gusts out of this, especially on the south side of Long Island. But this is all marching along at the same progression of our heavy rainfall band, which we'll talk about in a moment. So while this is marching on through, the key to get these winds mixed down from 850 millibars down to the surface is that you're going to have what we call mixing in the atmosphere. And that mixing occurs via very heavy rainfall and rain-cooled air within this complex of rainfall and thunderstorms gets mixed down. Okay, it gets dragged down to the surface, and that's how you get these wind gusts. Otherwise, you just have sustained winds of 15 to 30 miles per hour. Now, it looks like this is all going to march along pretty progressively once we get past 10 p.m. So 10 p.m. through, let's say, midnight, eastern Pennsylvania, western New Jersey, midnight on through 2 a.m., let's say, for the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan areas at the same time. 2 a.m. to, let's say, 4 a.m. for the Hudson River Valley, portions of western Connecticut, western Long Island, and then from about 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., those strong winds will be impacting portions of eastern Long Island and Connecticut. And while that's happening, there will be a potential here for power outages, wind damage, you name it, okay? And at the same time, very heavy rainfall will be associated with this band that's marching through. So what I envision seeing here, because we're seeing this intense lifting, you see this signature here, this tells me convection, and this is at around, let's see, this is about noon, okay, noon tomorrow. Notice we're drying out here. I think a lot of this is very widely scattered showers, as temperatures are free falling through the 50s and 40s and into the 30s as this cold air is invading, okay? So this signature here tells me more likely than not, we're going to see a very sharp cutoff in this rainfall band. So while you're sleeping overnight, very heavy rainfall, strong winds. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, most locations, let's say from eastern Pennsylvania through the Jersey Shore, will probably see scattered cloud cover, windy conditions. Hopefully you brought some of your more loose holiday items that might be outside, your decorations. You probably want to bring them in because they might be in your next door neighbor or the next town over with some of these wind gusts. So bring Santa's little light up show indoors, or else it's going to end up in someone else's backyard. By the time we get to the afternoon hours, I got a little gift for you. Snow showers. Yep, going to be some flurries. Temperatures are going to continue to crash. This is in the evening hours, okay? So let's say about 9 p.m. Don't be surprised if we got some lake effect snow showers coming in from Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, impacting portions of the Catskills and the Poconos, and possibly even portions of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area as those temperatures continue to free fall. Now, what about the rest of this pattern? When we talked about this in a live chat last night, why aren't we seeing the string of winter storms that was earlier advertised about 7 to 10 days out in a lot of the model guides? Now it's gone. The reason why it's pretty simple is that there is a lot changing in the atmosphere. And so right now, the polar jet stream and the subtropical jet stream aren't exactly aligned. They're a bit out of sync. So as a result, you get this strong polar shortwave diving on through, but you have this ridge in the southeast blocking it from being able to dig any further. And so you just pretty much get some rain and snow showers on Monday afternoon and no significant storm. Okay? Then you have this shortwave coming on through. Well, hey, maybe that'll produce a major storm. No. Unfortunately, the interaction with all of these shortwaves supports a negatively tilted trough, but the blocking is all wrong. So, unfortunately, your storm, your focus of the storm, your primary low is well to the west over the Great Lakes in this type of scenario. Now, there is a potential here, slight potential, that this all is a bit wrong, and that you have all these short waves running around, and maybe the upper level low is closer to the eastern Great Lakes than the central Great Lakes. It's possible. It's 10 days out. Certainly a possibility, 7 to 10 days out. However, what I'm trying to say is that in this situation here, what you're more likely to have is your primary low back here, a secondary low out here, and that's going to remain the case until it gets to about New England. So in this scenario, you're more likely maybe to see a front range rain and snow changing over to rain type scenario. But that's about it in this situation. But all of this evolution in the pattern is setting up a far more enjoyable pattern. You see, what's happening here is the polar vortex is taking a real sucker punch. Okay, it is getting whacked and hit left and right via this strong stratospheric warming event. So what's happening here is that the polar vortex is weakening and being disrupted. This is supported on all the model guides, every single one. In fact, this morning I saw on Twitter, one of the meteorologists I also happen to follow showed, hey, look, now every model is showing a flip in the winds from west to east. What does that mean in basic terms? It means that there's major disruption in the polar vortex. The weaker the polar vortex, the more likely you get cold air and high latitude blocking setting up. The more likely you get an active winter weather pattern. And the more likely you end up with this. This pattern showing up on the EPS, which is a European Model Guidance Ensembles. Basically, you take a bunch of run of the European guidance. You do this also for the GFS and for the Canadian guidance. You take, let's say, 20 to 30 runs, you average them out, and this is what you get. Well, in this scenario, this would support a very interesting pattern for the eastern United States. First of all, this is a heck of a block here. This is a very significant negative NAO, negative Arctic Oscillation block. What that basically means in layman terms, it's going to get stormy and cold. The question is pretty much comes down to the details. The pattern overall, though, man, if you are a snow lover, this is the pattern you want to see. And the long range guidance, the weekly guidance, okay, that's even finally starting to pick up what is actually happening in the atmosphere. I'm starting to make that adjustment, especially the new GFS long range week 4 guidance was absolutely perfect for a setup for a stormy weather pattern. So understand this. The pattern that's coming on the way for January, maybe into February, if this unfolds as it's being shown right here, we're going to be busy. And I'm going to have to load up on some more coffee because this is going to be a pattern that is going to definitely produce. But understand, with winter storms, everything has to fall into place. The reason why I started off taking a look at what's going on with this situation for the end of our month and this situation here for the start of the new year is to make a point. You can have nearly everything work out in your 500 millibar pattern. You can have the cold air, you can have the storms, but sometimes all it takes is one pesky little disturbance or one little trough or ridge out of place, and it could throw the whole storm forecast out the window. So understand, the pattern is favorable, but there are no guarantees. But I could tell you this winter pattern that's setting up is far, far better than anything we've seen in 3 years if you're looking for snow and storms. That is your premium video forecast discussion for today. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. If you're celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever holiday you happen to be celebrating, we'll be back doing videos on Saturday. Have a wonderful day, and as always, stay safe out there.